I'm a 22-year-old straight man. I feel that women my age are easier to talk to than men my age. I don't have many friends, but most of the people I want to be friends with or enjoy chatting with are women. I actually invited a male colleague last week to get McDonald's with me. What I find hard about making friends with women is that I'm worried about men judging me for being the guy who prefers having female friends. This worry makes it difficult to make friends altogether. I also have autism and struggle with making friends regardless. I've spoken to counseling and other agencies that can help me with social skills, but I'm even embarrassed to ask for advice specific to making female friends because the general consensus is that what I desire is weird. At least 10 times I wanted to ask about this in therapy or counseling, but I freeze up and start random conversations instead. I picked up on my Welsh counselor's accent and spent half a session talking about a holiday to Wales, which I used to fill time so I didn't have to ask the real questions. Story 1. Do not wait for the whole world to approve of you living life the way you want to live it. Go be friends with whoever your friends are, and stop worrying about this kind of thing. Story 2. Just to clarify, has anyone actually explicitly told you it is wrong or bad to have female friends? You have only said you are worried someone will judge you, and you are hesitant to talk to your counselor about it. This makes me think this is merely a fear and not something that has actually happened yet. Regardless, I know you are young, but the sooner you learn the skill of not caring what people think of you, the better. I know it is easier said than done, but practice makes perfect. You cannot please everyone, so just do what you want to do. There will always be someone who does not like what clothes you wear, a phrase you use, or the music you like. Do not try to be what you think other people want. Be what you actually are because there is nothing wrong with that. Story 3. It sounds like you are too in your own head. Like you said, you have not really brought this up to anyone in real life. You think it is weird and use the logical fallacy of mind reading, assuming everyone else thinks the same. Just relax or try to learn to relax and talk to girls like you would anyone else. Most people will not care, and if one random person does it really matter? Story 4. I'm a social butterfly and I have a lot of friends. I'm definitely a guy's guy and connect quickly with men. However, half of my friends are women because women are great too. My advice: spend time with people who accept you for who you are. Don't try to impress those who don't. Story 5. It's not strange. It never was. This is some alpha, gym bro, traditional wife nonsense. I am in my late 30s and have always had female friends. Yes, there was one time when I really had a crush on one of them. It happens, but for most of them, it was platonic from the beginning or became platonic after 1 or 2 dates because it was not a good match for a romantic relationship. It helps and is healthy to have a perspective different from your gender. You can learn so much. Story 6. Some people have a hard time believing that men and women can be friends at all. Even more people seem to think it is especially hard for men to earnestly be friends with women. That is their own perspective, and they are projecting onto others who do not have the same social circles. Story 7. It isn't. I've had female friends my entire life, starting in kindergarten. No one ever thought it was strange. Story 8. The problem with being friends with a woman is that if you have a girlfriend or wife, she becomes an issue, and if your female friend has a boyfriend or husband, you become a problem. There is also a tendency for gender stereotypes to lead people to make assumptions about the opposite gender, which may not apply if someone is on the spectrum. I learned that the hard way when one of my coworkers was a really cool married Korean woman who I shared recipes with from time to time. She introduced me to a popular Asian grocery store. It became hard to talk about work with my ex because I am honest to a fault about things like that, and we sat directly across from each other. So I had more casual conversations with her than anyone else in the office, and my recollection reflected that. I even gave her a bunch of interviewing tips to pass along to her husband, who was underpaid at his current job and struggled with confidence in job interviews. I write software, but I was a technical recruiter once upon a time. Technical managers are easy to influence in interviews if you do the right research. I am pretty sure that having a female coworker who I was friends with was one of the things that drove the final wedge between my ex and me. I can talk to anybody, and it was one of the things my ex loved about me when we first got together. But that changed when she moved in with me. Somehow, my ability to stay interested in conversations with people who shared some of the same interests became a bad thing. Story 9. I will drop the generalizations since everyone here mentioned it and address your specific case. I don't think it's strange that you want to be friends with women, but I think there is something to be said about you more easily connecting with women. Again, not strange, but you are different from most men. What stands out to me is that you are very talkative about surface-level topics. Women excel at casual socialization between friends. Women bond through talking about topics like relationships and getting to know the person more. Men bond through quests, banter, insults, and working together. I am similar to you, but I can't bond with women too much because I am not interested in feminine topics. My closest friends are men who, like me, cannot be quiet when they are on a roll. We bond through deep conversations about philosophy, core values, goals, dreams, and encouraging one another. I think if you find friends like that, which is very difficult, you will discover that it is not so much that you enjoy women more, but that you enjoy expressing yourself rather than the typical masculine bonding over projects and banter that most men do. Story 10. It's because there is a stereotype that heterosexual men only befriend women to pursue romantic or sexual interests. Unfortunately, there are enough men behaving this way to make the stereotype seem real. However, honestly, make friends with whoever you like. From personal experience, I would say people can tell when your efforts for friendship are genuine, so you do not need to worry. Story 11. It is not true. Many women are controlling but do not face the same scrutiny for that behavior as men do when they project their insecurities onto others. Make friends with whoever you want. A woman who believes she has a say in your friendships is likely to be alone. Story 12. In big cities, not at all. In small towns and mid-sized cities, it is a bit harder for sure. In the United States, it is definitely more difficult than in other cultures, at least from my experience. Story 13. Why do you care about how people you do not like feel about you? There are billions of people on this earth. There will always be someone who will judge you and say that whatever you are doing is strange, no matter what it is. Some people think it is unusual if you do not have more female friends. No matter what you do, you will seem unusual to someone. So just do what you want. Story 14. I feel I have more female friends than male friends. I find women to be more emotionally understanding and less dismissive than men. To that extent, I hope to have more understanding male friends. For some of them, I have met their husbands on an acquaintance level before. Story 15. Older man here. Most of my friends are women, including the friend I spend by far the most time with. I have known her for 15 years and some others for over 30. My wife is fine with it. She trusts me, and for good reason. I have even dated some of them at one point, and we found we were better friends than lovers. I find women are much easier to talk with and more authentic than most men. There is none of the competition that can show up in some male friendships. It has never occurred to me to care if people think it is strange. When I was looking for a partner or lover, having female friends was helpful. Women would see this, feel I was safe, and vouch for me. Some women would also refer people to me. Also, it can be enjoyable to have frank discussions about sex with women when there is no chance of sleeping together. Story 16. There is nothing wrong with being friends with women. One of my closest friends, whom I met in college, is a woman. I credit her a lot for helping me come out of my shell when it came to talking to strangers in general, especially women. Story 17. I do not think it is strange, and you should not care about what other people think of your friendships. If you like having female friends, have female friends. Story 18. There is nothing wrong with having friends of the opposite sex. However, both men and women can have hidden sexual intentions. Some men have women as friends in the hope of the right moment to come. Some women keep men as friends as backup options. Both are unhealthy and not true friendships. In my opinion, these are a minority of all friendships. Story 19. It's not. Growing up, I hung out with groups of girls, both in high school and college. It doesn't work as easily as an adult, but I am an open book for my wife and she trusts me. Story 20. I have an equal number of male and female friends. Some of my male friends I made in my early and late 20s. We are still great friends. I have never slept with them, and it is not weird. It is pretty normalized for me. I have even been to more than my share of bachelor parties. They are great guys, so their bachelor parties involved road trips, adventure sports, wildlife tracking, and even psychedelics once. Story 21. I do not know who thinks it is weird. I know plenty of straight men and women who are friends. I am a straight man, and I have almost always had at least one good woman friend at any given time, going all the way back to high school. Story 22. 'Cause society is weird. Don't let it affect you. I have many female friends, and I am close to a lot of them. Sometimes, when we are out, I pay the bill because society assumes one man and one woman eating together is a date. I just don't make a fuss, pay, and then have them pay me back. All that to say, having female friends is totally your choice. If you want them, make the effort to befriend them and see where it goes. Story 23. Be friends with whoever you want. If you later start dating someone, make it clear what your boundaries are around being friends with others. If your romantic partners have insecurities, that is something to work on together. It is not your responsibility to concede other connections because they feel insecure. However, it is important to talk about those insecurities and work through them. If your friends are in a relationship with a partner who feels insecure about you, work with your friend to help their partner feel more secure. If you develop a crush on one of your friends, periodically evaluate whether you want to act on it. If you decide not to, just enjoy your crush until it fades. If you decide to do something about it, bring it up to your friend directly and kindly. Share your feelings and ask about theirs. Provide a way to remain friends if they do not share your feelings. Allow yourself time to recover from rejection, and let your friend know that is what you are doing. Do not give them the cold shoulder. Everyone belongs to themselves. People can honor agreements or not. People can be faithful or not. Attempting to control someone or limit their friends based on things like attractiveness or gender is just control and a cover for insecurity. There can be valid reasons for your partner not wanting you to be close to certain individuals. Maybe there is a conflict between them. Maybe they do not like how this other person treats or behaves toward you. These are not always reasons to end a connection, but they are not always invalid either. It is an ongoing conversation. Boundaries allow people to have healthy connections with us. Boundaries communicate what we will do if they are not respected. They are not rules for others to follow. If your friends are important to you, any romantic partners should be aware, and boundaries should be established to maintain healthy relationships for you. If romantic partners or friends will not honor your boundaries, you must decide if they are right for you. Story 24. Because women are often not good friends. The ones who do make good friends are people you want to date. Downvote if you want, but it is true and you know it. Story 25. I have many female friends. At the end of the day, having a good time when you hang out is much more important than their gender in my opinion. Story 26. I have 3 platonic female friends, and all 3 friendships have lasted over 10 years, one nearly 20. I have never done anything romantic with any of them, and I never would. Do what makes you happy, man. I believe women and men have unique insights and communication styles, and having both in your life makes you a more well-rounded person. A Saturday round of golf with the boys is just as necessary as lunch with a woman friend, discussing all the small things going on in life. Story 27. Straight man here too. I had the opposite problem. I couldn't talk to girls. Maybe I was just unattractive. I usually get along with boys. Story 28. At 22, it is fine. Do not worry much. Even if some men judge you, they may eventually start asking you how to talk to women. It may be odd if a man who is 35 or older with a wife forms regular close female friendships. If they are longtime family friends, that is acceptable. Story 29. It's not weird. However, from my perspective and other women I know, it's suspicious. We have all dealt with men who pretended to be our friends. Either they hang around believing they can wear you down to date them or try to have sex at every opportunity. Once it becomes clear it's not going to happen, these men leave quickly. So much for wanting to be friends. Then you have to think about what it means to be a friend. My friends and I are close. We share secrets, life frustrations and difficulties, talk about sex and intimate matters, hang out all the time, and have deep bonds. I have never dated a man seriously who had close women friends. From personal experience and understanding how friendships work, it's borrowing trouble. My husband is not going to have intimate connections with other women. We both believe friendships have an intimacy that is a no-go for us with the opposite sex. Why would I want to develop and have an emotionally intimate and deep connection with a man who is not my husband? I already have that with him and he with me. Story 30. If you are too nice or friendly to men, you may be perceived as gay. If you are too friendly with all the girls, you will be perceived as a competitor by other men. If you are too friendly with the girls, they may think you want to hit on them. This can be confusing sometimes, especially for people on the spectrum who may feel judged. Others who do not care how they are perceived do not feel weird about it. Story 31. Sadly, I think it is because many men have proven repeatedly that they have ulterior motives. If I am completely honest with myself, when I am friendly with a woman, it is only a matter of time before attraction builds between one or both of us, and then it can turn into something else. Alternatively, one person may not have the same feelings, which can ruin the friendship. Some women do prefer a man's friendship, and they typically do not have many female friends. The main reason I sometimes find myself not enjoying a man's friendship is because, truthfully, many men can be difficult. They try to be competitive with each other and strive to be the dominant figure in the friendship. When I hang out with a female friend, it does not feel like we are on the verge of a conflict. Finding male friends who are secure can be challenging, so I understand preferring female friendships. It has become so difficult that some people have turned to befriending artificial intelligence. Story 32. Honestly, if anyone is going to give you trouble over befriending women, they are not worth the trouble in the first place. Story 33. I have always had female friends for as long as I can remember. Many men think women are objects and do not see them as real people. These are the people who believe you cannot be friends. Story 34. I had many female friends until they got boyfriends. Then they started acting very cold toward me. Story 35. I don't think it's strange, but the dynamic is already off due to how men and women operate. Most men only communicate with women they find attractive, while women often only have men around who are useful to them. However, this isn't always the case. I believe it is possible for men and women to be friends and build genuine friendships, but that requires both people to keep the relationship platonic. The biggest sign of a true friendship between a man and a woman is how they act when that friend enters a relationship or if that friend supports the other in a situation to help them succeed romantically. If you don't want to see your friends thrive in all areas of life, including romance, you are not a true friend. Story 36. I am older than you by a good deal. My best friends are almost all women. For the record, I have never tried to turn any of my friendships into romance or sex. There are a number of reasons for this, but one of them is that they communicate much better than my male friends. I can call them for no reason and talk for 3 hours about whatever. My male friends mostly will not stay in contact unless or until they have something specific they need to discuss with me. I recently went to the movies with 2 of my female friends. We just talk and hang out, and it is awesome. I am not aware of anyone thinking it is weird. There are men out there who only view women in terms of sex or relationships. They make female friends, but they hope for something more. They do the fake friend thing where they do not care anymore after it is clear they will never be more than friends. I think these people see a man with many women friends and, in their mentality, it means the man is a player who is just trying to get with many women at once. I know these types of people, and they just cannot understand having normal, platonic friendships with women. Maybe it is seen as weird for them. It is not weird. Story 37. I much prefer talking to women rather than men, although I can talk to my best friend forever, who is male, for hours on end. Other men often tell the same stories and embellish them to the point they become unrealistic. They also talk about their most recent bowel movements and their best sexual experiences. Women are more genuine and talk about feelings and emotions. I am an emotional person and can relate better. Plus, they are more pleasant to look at and smell better. Story 38. I think they are strange for thinking it is unusual that you want female friends. It sounds like toxic masculinity to me. Story 39. Opposite gender friendships rarely work out unless you have been friends for decades or they are family friends. It is just the way it is. Story 40. It is seen as strange because people will likely think you are trying to get many girlfriends, but that is not the case. I feel the same as you. Girls are easier to talk to. Boys nowadays are too focused on acting tough, vaping, and listening to the worst rap possible. I find that females have more personality. Story 41. I am with you. I am now 48, married with children, and before that, I was a very harmful person. Throughout my teens and later years, all my true best friends were women. Did I sleep with most of them? Yes, but the friendships remained. I stay in touch with many of them, although rarely, and at a very friendly level even now. For whatever reason, despite having many male friends, I seem to have a deeper connection with females. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.